Hi, it's Sandy, and today I'm bringing you my July wrap-up. This is definitely, I think they're all late. I don't think I've edited past April at this point, but it is currently September, and I'm only just getting around to filming my July wrap-up. Apologies if you can hear the wind. It is very windy outside, and I have the window open to get some air in here because it's really warm in here, so it keeps blowing the curtains. So apologies if you can hear that, but it's too warm. It is too warm. I've just been pottering about, putting stuff back into, or putting things into the shelves, because this area, it was a hot mess up here, and I'm filming these to try and get these books onto my shelves. So I'm about to film my July and August TBR, not together, but you will see me in this t-shirt back to back and with my new hairdo. I don't know if you'll have seen this by now, but I got a fringe. My hair's doing something wild today. I don't think it shows up very well on camera. It's calmed down. This is the first time I've washed my hair since being to England, and the difference between the hard water and the soft water has made my hair, it's so silky, soft and light, and it just went, pff, and it's kind of made its way back down again. But anyway, enough about my hair. You're here for a wrap up. Now, the month of July. July was my worst reading month, really. I only read 7 books. 7 books. That was it. And one was an arc. So bad reading month, but I had a lot going on. I had surgery. Hamish had surgery. Hamish had, I can't remember if I've spoken about this online or not. I probably have, but it's probably somewhere unedited currently. We thought that Hamish had potentially a really aggressive type of cancer. Turns out that he does not. He had a tumour on his spleen, and it was totally benign. Totally benign. It made him really, really sick, but it's only on the spleen, and now the spleen is removed. It will not cause him any further problems. So that we had all that going on in July. He had to go down to the dick vet and get scans and stuff. It was a whole thing. I was stressed at my tree. So I did not do very much reading. So Hamish is fine. He is behind my desk sleeping right now. He is fine. I'm fine. I've had surgery. I had an emergency surgery. It wasn't an emergency in that it was life or death or anything, but it was unscheduled. It's basically what they call emergency surgery. Is unscheduled. It wasn't we found a thing, we're going to have to do surgery on it at some point. It was I went into the hospital and they went, come back in the next day fasted and we'll cut you open. So yeah, I'm fine. Hamish is fine. My wound is almost completely healed now. It has been ages. This thing's taken to heal. So yeah, we're all good. But July suffered for that in the reading. I'm not going to lie. But it's fine. It's fine. Now, actually, stopping yapping and getting into the wrap-up. The first thing I read was The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. And that is the first in the Bridgerton set. So Bridgerton, I've watched the 3 series that are out. I've not watched Queen Charlotte, but I've watched the first 3 main body series, which I believe are books 1, 3 and 4, I believe, because they skipped Benedict. So they did Daphne, then Anthony, then Colin. So they've skipped Benedict. And Benedict is going to be the next series, but I think he's the second book. I can't remember, but I know they've skipped Benedict somewhere. Anyway, so The Duke and I is Daphne's story. So it follows Daphne Bridgerton as she enters society, and she is presented to the Queen and put onto the marriage mart, and she is not really getting much in the way of offers. I don't know if it's because she's intimidating, because her family's intimidating, but she's just not really getting much interest, and obviously for a woman of her standing, that is terrifying. And so she ends up, through means of some craziness, entering into a fake courtship with the Duke. Now the Duke is Simon, I can't remember the names, the titles and everything. So Simon is one of Anthony's friends from, I think, university, and he has recently become a duke on his father's death. But he is not interested in marriage. He is not interested in anybody, really. He just wants to be left alone. He doesn't want any sort of attention. He doesn't want women and mamas falling all over him, but he is a duke. He is a duke who is a bachelor. And the mamas, they want their daughters to marry a duke. Like, a duke is the lowest, not the lowest, the only thing lower, so it goes like monarch, so king, queen, prince, princess, duke, and then I think earl, marquis, earl, I can't remember, but it goes, I had to look it up, it goes down like that. So duke is like the closest you can get to being a monarch, without actually marrying a monarch. And so everybody wants to have their daughters marry him, and so he is trying to like stay out of it, and Daphne is trying to drum up interest. And so she plans this thing with him that they pretend that he is courting her. So they are seen together, they go do things together, like walks and horse rides and stuff like that. And it means that the mamas will be off his back because they think he's interested in Daphne, but it also means that the men in the area will see him wanting her and think, well, if he wants her, now I want her. And of course we all know how things go with fake arrangements, but this one's slightly different because of the Regency era of it. I did read this, I had it on Kindle on like an NAP deal or something from a while ago, because I have ordered the Illumicrate set. Illumicrate. They did a reprint, and it was a pre-order reprint because it was so popular. They were like, you order it and we'll print how many need ordered. How about that? Which I think is very smart. So I've ordered that because it is stunning, and I was like, you need to at least read one of the books and decide that you like it before you order the set. Unlike what I did with the Bergman Brothers books, which was order the set and then go, crap, I've not read any of those. But I did, and I loved them all. And I did like The Duke and I. It's my favourite thing ever. No, I'm not a big Regency fan. Is it well written? Like, it could be better. It is an older book, and it kind of reflects a lot of that when you do read it, but I enjoyed it enough that I would be happy to have the set on my shelves, and I think, from what I've heard, it does tend to get better through the series. Next, because I was having a crappy month, I decided to reread Fucking Around. I actually decided to reread the entire series, spoilers for August, but this is the first book, try that again. But this is the first of that series. So Fucking Around is the first in Emily Rath's Jacksonville Rays series, and this follows Rachel and Caleb and Jake and Ilmari, and yeah, this is a romance, a poly romance, and it is one of my favourite books ever. Like, I love this series so much. I think the newest one is maybe my favourite, but don't hold me to that. So this follows Rachel, who is a doctor, and she has just missed out on this incredible fellowship. So there's a fellowship for doctors in, I think it's the whole of the US, but the course that she is on usually guarantees a place, but she does not get a place, and so she is drinking her troubles away with her friend, and when she gets woken up the next morning by a phone call from her sort of, not professor, like the guy that heads the thing she's on, to say, by the way, the guy that was supposed to be doing this got in a terrible skiing accident, so good news, you're in. But it does mean that she has to take whatever team he picked, because they get to pick what team they want to work with, and she ends up working with the Jacksonville Rays, which to her is the best thing that could have happened, because she's a knee and hip specialist, so her speciality is like ortho and knee and hip and injury and etc. And I don't know if you've ever seen ice hockey. It is a very violent sport. These guys are getting slammed into boards, they're getting like tackled, fighting, like their knees and hips are disgraceful. So she is so excited to start this new job, but it does mean she has to jump in a plane and move from, I think, Chicago to, I want to say Chicago, I'm probably wrong. She has to move from one side of the country down to Florida, and so she does that, and she's picked up by Caleb, and And she's like, I want to be friends with you, but you don't like me. It's just Caleb, he's fine. And then when she gets to the rink, she discovers that the guy she met, so it does say at the start of this to read that one night, and if you don't read that one night, it gives you a rundown. She met a guy in Seattle at her brother's wedding, not at the wedding, but like while she was at her brother's wedding, and they had an instant connection. They had one night together, no names, no nothing, and she left in the morning, and she walks into the practice arena, and who's there but Jake, who's the guy. And it kind of spirals from there. So like I said, this is a poly romance, so if you don't like that, don't read it, because I'm not here to listen to criticism about queer romance. If you're not interested in reading queer romance, don't read queer romance and then whine about it. But if you want a good poly representation, I love this book so much. I love every character, and I 100% agree with the dedication that this book needs Ilmari. I love Ilmari. He is my favourite. I'm sorry, but I love him so much. Next, I read the arc that I got, which is Shadows and Ciders by Hayley Blackwood. I love the series. This is book 3 in the series, and she is hanging me on by a thread. Like, she is dragging me along on a thread, because we still don't have the full story. Like, this story is building and building and building from the previous ones. So it really is like, although it's a companion series, like it's companion novels with different couples each novel, there is an overarching story and you need to read them in order, and I love this one so much. This is about Shade, I want to say, I can't remember his name. He wakes up and he has no idea who he is, where he is, when it is, what's going on. Like, he has no idea, but he sees Ginger, who we meet in the previous ones, who's the owner of the local tavern, and he sees her and he knows that she is his wife, and he starts kind of stalking her. So a little bit trigger warning for stalking. It's I was going to say well-meaning stalking, but that's not really a thing. He does not know what's going on. All he knows is he has a connection to her, and he's trying to find out what happened to him, who he is, what he is, like what's going on. Ginger doesn't want him anywhere near her because she just feels weird when he's around. Not necessarily bad, but weird, which is unwelcome to her. And because her life is exactly the same every single day. She has like a whole thing going on, and so she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to rock the boat. But at the same time, she is also raising a baby dragon, and she is scared that he's not meeting milestones, that he's not eating right, that he's not sleeping enough, that he's sleeping too much. She is just an anxious dragon mum. And her friends try and reassure her, her friends try and make her realise that they love her and that she is wanted and loved, and, you know, but her mental health isn't the greatest, and it does sort of play a lot of a through thread through this book. I love this again. Hayley Blackwood, honestly, a fantastic author. She's an indie author. These are all self-published, but she's just phenomenal. Like, really, the other books I think are up here where you can't see them, which is great, but they're like here. So the first one is Love Letters and Thirst Tonics, and I highly recommend you getting them. I am part of her ARC team, so I get ARCs sent to me about a week before release, and I so happily drop everything to read them, because genuinely I think she's a phenomenal writer and these are phenomenal stories, and it is ridiculous that nobody has offered her a trad publishing deal yet. Talking of ridiculous that someone's not had a trad publishing deal yet, the next book I read was Love is a War Song by Danica Nava. Danica Nava, I say this every time I mention her, but I'm going to keep saying it. Danica Nava is the first Native American who has been picked up for traditional publishing for romance. Ever. It is 2025, people. It is 2025. Are we having a laugh here? Like, are we having a laugh? So Love is a War Song is book 2 in her, I don't even know if it's a series, I don't know if they're connected, I don't know if we will see characters cross over, because I don't think we do in this one. I can't, if we do, I missed it, but this is her second book that she has released, and I love this so much. This is a true cowboy romance. If you want a cowboy romance, this is a cowboy romance. So the main character, whose name I can't remember, obviously, because it's me, Avery. Avery is like think native Taylor Swift. Like, she is massive. She is huge on the music scene. And then something happens that causes controversy. Why can't I say that word? And controversy, there we go, and she is not outed, but she claims to be a native woman, but she doesn't have the correct paperwork or registrations. There's no proof that she comes from native family. And so until this all blows over, her mum decides to send her to live with her gran, who she has, I don't think she's ever met, because her mum and her gran fell out before she was born, and go back to her gran's farm, which is on the reservation, so that she can learn about her roots, so that she can potentially get all the paperwork done, like get herself straightened out while her mum deals with all the PR mess back in LA. And so she goes to stay with her grandmother. It's really uncomfortable and awkward because she's never met her. She's very different. She only has what her mum's told her, which is not very much. And it's just, I really like this, that she is such a fish out of water. This whole book is so much about her growth as a person generally, and her growth with her own identity and her native identity, and like getting to know who she is as a person, because she goes to this farm and she can't do anything. I'm pretty sure on the first day she burns toast. Like she can't do anything for herself, and that does not fly on the farm. On the farm, everybody has to muck in, and there's a few guys that work for her gran, and one of them is Lucas, and he is one of the farm hands who instantly does not like Avery. He thinks she's spoiled, he thinks she is a princess, and he is not a fan. And throughout this, like I say, you just see all this character growth. This is such a good slow burn romance. Like, and it's not necessarily enemies. I think it could be put into like the hate to love or the dislike to love category, because he really does, like, he does not want her there. He does not want her there. She doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want her there. They instantly like clash. And yeah, I really, really love this. Like I say, it is a true cowboy romance. I cannot speak today. He works on the ranch. I think it's horses. I don't know if they breed horses or if they just keep horses, but there's horses, and I love horses. And yeah, I genuinely love Danica Nava. This book, to me, is better than her first book, and not in the sense that I think the first book is bad, but like, you know, when you can see an author improving as they write in that sort of way. And I cannot wait to see what she comes out with next. Next, I read The End of Crowns All. This is the latest, or not the latest, it was when I read it, the latest in this, again, not necessarily a series, but B. Fitzgerald writes Greek retellings, which right now are the only Greek retellings I can stand, because they got ruined by Reading Still Blind. But yeah, so The End of Crowns All is a Sapphic Troy retelling between Cassandra and Helen. So Helen of Sparta became Helen of Troy when she marries Paris, who is the sort of prodigal son. This is like before the book, kind of. So Paris was divined, I can't remember what the word is, like prophesized to be the fall of Troy. And so because of that, he was sent away, and he was supposed to be, it's a whole like Red Riding Hood-esque thing. He was supposed to be sent away and killed, but instead he was found as a baby by some farmers, and they decided to raise him as his own. And when he is older, he returns to Troy, as his identity is shown. And then through his myth, he enters into he is forced to enter this competition for a golden apple between Aphrodite, Athena and Hera, and he has to pick who's the most beautiful, and each of them offer different prizes, and the one that Aphrodite offers is the most beautiful woman on earth, which is Helen. And so he chooses that, and he goes to Troy, and he goes to Sparta, and he runs away with Helen. Helen runs away with him back to Troy. Now, unbeknownst to him, I suppose, there had been a deal between different countries, different places, which you see the side of in Song of Achilles, where Helen was so coveted by each and every leader, each and every man, that they all agreed that once she married the king of Sparta, that they would stop vying for her hand, and that if any man took her away from him or tried to take her, anything like that, they would all band together and like go after him. So once Paris takes Helen back to Troy, this agreement is triggered, and so, like I said, with the Song of Achilles or the Myth of Achilles, they travel, Odysseus, Menelaus, Theseus. Is it Theseus? I can't remember. Like all these people in Greek mythology, they travel to Troy, and so the tale of the Trojan horse and all that jazz. Cassandra is one of Paris' sisters. She does not want to get married, and so she has devoted herself to the Temple of Apollo. In this, it is quite a selfish thing because she just doesn't want to get married. She is gay, and so she does not want anything to do with a man. She is a princess though, and so she will get married off. So she decides, here's what I'll do. I will devote myself to the Temple of Apollo. That way I will keep my standing as a princess and as a priestess, but I will not be made to get married because technically she's married to Apollo. Like, it's the whole, like, she's dedicated to Apollo. You can't marry her. But she is not truly faithful to Apollo. She is there, like I say, for the standing. She is not there because she feels devotion to Apollo. And then one day Apollo comes to her and she is praying for anything. She will give him anything he wants if she can have the power of prophecy. And so he answers her prayer, and he wants to sleep with her to give her the power of prophecy. And so she agrees, and he gives her the power of prophecy. And so later on, she then relents on that promise. She changes her mind, which, you know, in regards to consent, is absolutely her decision to make. He never forces her. He only will sleep with her with consent. Although, don't think that he's a good guy for that. Like, he is seriously twisted. The Greek gods all are, other than in Percy Jackson. But instead, what he does to punish her is that he curses her so that although she has the power of prophecy, no one, because he can't take it away, no one will ever believe what she says. And so she has all these prophecies. She has these prophecies that come to her at random times, tells her about the sack of Troy, tells her that Paris will be the downfall. Like, she can see what's coming and nobody believes her. If anything, it actually turns them to the opposite side. So she says something, they immediately believe it's not true, and then, like, it's like if she says, you need to do this, they'll stop doing it. Like, it's a whole thing. And so Helen comes to Troy. Cassandra hates her because she knows that this is going to be the fall of Troy. But Helen is determined to make Cassandra like her. And if she can't make Cassandra like her, she will destroy her. And they used to enter into this sort of really contentious relationship where they have to spend time together, but neither of them likes the other. Like, Helen doesn't necessarily want to be there. She's not really that enamoured with Paris. She is also gay, so she's like, you know, but she doesn't understand why she had the feeling to be like, I need to be with this man. Because she gets there and she's like, what happened? And Cassandra hates her because of this, and she's trying to get rid of her. But Helen knows if she goes back to her husband, all she will get is abuse, and even worse because she left him. So yeah, they have to deal with what's happening with Troy, all the, you know, you see the battles. Like I say, if you've read Song of Achilles, you see those battles happen, you see what happens with Cassandra's brothers and things like that as well, from their side of it, from what's happening within Troy. And in the meantime, Cassandra and Helen start to fall in love with each other, and they know what is going to happen, and so they're trying to find a way to save the people while nobody will listen to Cassandra. So they're trying to work their ways around it. It's really, really interesting. I did not know how this was going to work. I did not think this was going to work, and it works so well. B. Fitzgerald, honestly, has a gift when it comes to Greek retellings. The first one is a Hades and Persephone retelling. This one is Cassandra and Helen, like I said, and is a Troy retelling. And honestly, I don't even know what the third one is, and I bought it, and I am so excited to read it. Next, I read Make Me by Tessa Bailey. This finishes the series, the Broken Beautiful trilogy. And honestly, I read this thinking I would DNF it. I am a perfectionist, not perfectionist, what's the word? Completionist. I'm a completionist. And I'd already read books 1 and 2. And honestly, possibly my least favourite Tessa Bailey's. Ooh, maybe my least favourite Tessa Bailey's. I do not think they're well written. I do not think the characters are well written or fleshed out. And some of the tropes are done so poorly. Not my biggest, not my favourites. And I was like, this has tropes that I really, really like. This has a dynamic that I really, really like. And so I want to finish. I was like, I will give it a try. I will read it a little bit, see if I like it, DNF it. If not, I'll unhaul the series. However, my instincts were correct. I loved this book so much. I don't know why. Like, I don't know what happened between the first two and this one, but this one I loved. So, Robbie it is Robbie, isn't it? Russell. Names me. Russell is a, like, I don't know if it's blue collar, white collar, I can't even remember. He is a builder. Him and his brother own their own building company, and he is, like, rough and ready. He's got, like, you know, short-shaved head, tan lines, like, he is, like, a working class guy. Like, he's a builder. He's a builder. And she is an heiress. So, like, she has all this money, and she is educated. She has a job in this, I think it's a law firm. I can't remember. It's some kind of firm, finance firm, something like that. And he has been so in love with her for the entire time they've known each other, and has been, like, keeping her away, because he knows that he is not good enough for her. Or he thinks he's not good enough for her because she's in high society and he's just a builder. And she has no idea. She is so innocent and so naive to the world that she has no idea that Russell has this huge crush on her. But something happens and it becomes obvious just how much he likes her. He is working down the road. Like, he has such bad anxiety, and the representation in this, I think, is written quite well from his point of view. Hi, Hamish. I don't know if you just heard him shake there. So she is in a building, like, he can almost see her building from where he is, like, on his site at the moment. And he can see, like, fire engines firing down the road, and, like, he's like, what the hell is going on? That's going towards her work. So he phones her and he's like, what is going on? She's walking down the stairs, like, it's fine, we're being evacuated. There's been a gas leak. It's fine, it's not in my building, it's the building next to me. But we're being evacuated, just in case. And he's like, right, cool, it's fine. Well, so it's starting to panic. And she's like, oh yeah, blah, 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 walking down the stairs. And then all of a sudden, boom! He can see this explosion happen. Her phone goes dead, and he just sprints. He just goes absolutely flying down the street because he needs to get to her. She's fine, it's fine. She was, like, covered when the building next to her exploded. It wasn't enough to, like, take the building down, but it was, like, big enough to give everybody a shock. And when he gets there, she's like, whoa, wow, that was mad. And he's like, shaking like a leaf, and he's like, oh my god, you almost died. And she's like, nah. Like, she takes nothing seriously. And he decides that it's his job to keep her safe. Like, he's already decided that, but, like, in this one, he ramps it up. And they start spending so much time together, and she doesn't realise, like, she knows she's starting to fall for him, but she won't acknowledge it. These two, honestly, just the relationship they have, the way they build up this friendship, the way that he, like, although he is, like, so enamored with her, he is not like, I'm falling for her, I need to get her. He's like, I care about her, I need to protect her. Like, I need to make sure she is happy and protected and loved and cared for. And honestly, I love Russell. He's the best out of the three guys. He's the best written. She is so, but, like, she, again, is very much, this one actually reminds me of What Happened One Summer. Which is probably why I think it's the best. But yeah, I'm glad I read this, because I was going to just not read it and unhaul the series, and this ended up being my favourite. So, just tells you, you know, maybe if you're unsure about something, just give it a try and see what you think. And lastly, you will be happy to know I'm going to stop yapping after this. I read Immortal by Morning by Lindsay Sands. This came early, and I screamed so loud when I got this. This book is I don't even know anymore. There's like 30 plus of these books. Normally she would write one every 6 months or release one every 6 months, but she slowed down recently, which is like, I think it's been 18 months since the last book. 18 months when I'm used to getting them 6 months apart. Like, I'm not like you. She writes other series, but like how she puts out books, I don't know. But I needed my fix. I love the series. The series is about, God, we're so far through it now. So, in this world, there are vampires, or immortals, as they prefer to be called. And they are scientific vampires, scientific immortals. So they started in Atlantis, like the whole vampirism occurred from Atlantis, where the scientists had developed these bio-nanos, which go through your blood, use like your vascular system to get around, and they use your blood and things in your blood to repair disease and everything in your body that's sort of wrong. So the idea was they inject these nanos into someone who has cancer. It cures the cancer, they deactivate, and they wash out of your system. But the thing with computers are that computers are very, very literal. And with these nanos, they didn't stop, because our bodies are always at risk of something. Our bodies are always being slowly degraded by something, be it pollution in the air, be it aging, be it sunlight. Like, our bodies are constantly needing repair. And so these bots, these nanos, saw their job to keep their host at their peak. And so that's what they continue to do. But they use your blood to do it. And so the people who've been injected with these needed blood transfusions, which was fine when Atlantis was there. Like, we're talking millennia ago. Atlantis was really, really isolated. It had a mountain range on one side and the ocean on the other. And so they were an isolated society, which caused them to develop a lot faster than people around them. But they didn't share their technology. So these people, they got blood transfusions, and then Atlantis fell. And when Atlantis fell, the only people who survived were those with the nanos in them. But there were different batches of nanos which caused different issues, which come into play in other books. So the point of these books, the point I'm getting at, that's the history of the people. When they got over into the real world, as it were, everybody there was still hunter-gatherer. They didn't have the technology, they didn't have blood banks, they didn't have blood transfusions or the science to back them up. And so these nanos forced an evolution. It gave the people who had them fangs, night vision, speed, the ability to control and read minds. It gave them all these things to make them the perfect predator, so they could get the blood that they needed. Nowadays, though, things have moved on. We have blood banks, we have science, and so at least in the US, they are not allowed to bite people. If you bite people, you are a rogue, and if you continue to do it, you will be put down. Now, these books start off following one particular family called the Argenau family. Argenau, I'm not entirely sure. Now, it starts off following the siblings, and then we add cousins, and then we start to branch out on the family tree. And this follows one of Boswell's children, Crispinus. Why? This follows the son of one of the characters we've seen before. Like, these people, some of these people are old. Like, these are hundreds of years old people who've had multiple children. Like, so I think Crispin, my God, I can't speak. Crispin is like hundreds of years old at this point. And each of these books is about the main character and how, the two main characters, and how they become life mates. So a life mate for these people, you can read the mind of and control anyone who's younger than you. And as a child or as a newturn, you're taught to block people being able to get into your mind and stuff. But you also have to block out everybody else from like their thoughts coming in, like humans and stuff like that. So it gets exhausting, it gets tiring, and it can cause people to go rogue because they go mad. Hundreds of years of that isolation, you can imagine. And so the nanos, somehow, we don't know why, we don't know like what's going on, because, you know, all that information was lost in Atlantis, but it created life mates. So your life mate is someone you cannot read, you cannot control, they cannot read or control you. They are like an oasis in the desert. They are the calm in the storm. They are your perfect match, and no matter how long you are together, they will always be your perfect match. They have examples of life mates who met in Atlantis and are still alive in like current times. These are people who've been together for millennia and still love each other like day one. And so these books are about each person meeting their life mate. Now, it's always a bit, it's never straightforward, because if your life mate is human, you have to explain to them that immortals exist. No, we're not vampires. Yes, we drink blood, but not like that. We're not soulless. We're not dead. Yeah, I know, I'm hundreds of years old. Sure, I look 25, but that's just by the by. And you have to get them around this idea of life mates. Like, fated mates is not a thing that occurs in humans, and so it is something that they don't quite compute. I mean, if it was me, I would just be like, cool, let's go. Obviously not now I'm married, but like, you know what I mean. I read enough that there are certain things that, like, magic things that could happen in the world, and I'd just be like, sure, why not? But yeah, so often they have to go about it like a very tender way to get around to the whole life mate thing. And these books always go on the same, the story is exactly the same. They meet, they realise they're life mates, they think, crap, I need to figure out how to do it. They tell them the life mates, they have a situation where it's like, oh, right, I don't know if I can deal with this. They get into a situation that's life-threatening, they realise they can't live without each other, happily ever after. Every single book. If you are not someone who likes structure like that, I would avoid these, but these are my comfort reads because I know exactly how it's going to go. I just don't know the ups and downs of the stories it's going to go with it. It's amazing. I love it so much. But this follows Crispin, and he is a rogue hunter, an enforcer, whatever you want to call them, and they are placed at different, like, places all over the US and Canada, probably in Europe as well, but we mainly focus on Canada. And they go out to situations where they hear things that might be signs of a rogue. And so there has been this woman, April, I think April. I like April. She is like house sitting at her boss's house, and they are digging foundations to do an extension. And when they dig down, they discover skeletons, or at least the digger doesn't, because the digger just missed it, but the dog that she's looking after, the dog digs up the bones. And so she phones the police, and the police send out Crispin and his partner, whose name I can't remember, but we'll probably see him later on in books. And so they have to determine whether or not it is rogue activity that has found these skeletons. And the more they dig, the more skeletons they find. And they're like, oh crap, this is probably a rogue. And so they have to try and work out what's going on with the rogue. While at the same time, he is like, oh, she's my life mate, I need to figure this out. Because they are totally useless when they find a life mate. Like, totally useless. It is hilarious. It brings back, so the older ones, once you're over like 100 or so, you stop having the desire to have sex or eat or do anything. Like, things, you kind of just go live to survive. And so meeting your life mate brings you back your appetite, brings you back all your appetites. But you can't think properly. Like, all you can think about is them. And it makes you kind of stupid. And it's really funny when it's like thousands of years old vampires, or immortals, sorry, when they suddenly become idiots again. It's so funny. I love the series with my whole heart. Like, honestly, these are just such good time books. They are funny, they are smutty, they, like I say, go in the same pattern for every single book, and we are 30-something deep, and I still will drop everything to read these books as they come in the door. I love the characters. There was one character I remember when he got his book, I cried, because he'd been a side character for so long, and I cried when I found out he was getting his book, because I just wanted him to be happy. So yeah, I read this, I love this, I'm so excited for the next one, which I really hope would be 18 months. Like, I respect, one, you need a break, and two, you have other things to do, but it doesn't stop me wanting the next book in this series. So there we go. Those are the books I read in the month of July. I'm sure you'll be happy to know I'm going to stop yapping now. Hopefully this isn't too long, but I feel like I've been yapping for a while. If you want to let me know you watched the video all the way through, if you leave me some kind of emoji for Immortal by Morning, so if you leave a rose, or if you leave, I don't know if there's a blood drop or a vampire or fangs or something vampire related, that would be appreciated. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!